That down? Let's move on to this, shall we? You know, when Inside Out 2 came out and made like over, I think it was over $160 million in its opening weekend, and went on to make $1.6 plus billion and be the number one box office film of the year. You know what everybody said? Pixar's back, baby. Pixar's back. And certainly they were, from a certain point of view. That movie was one of the most successful films in history. But then along came Elio. And if you guys have seen the title of this story, I apologize. I said to Jonathan earlier today when we were getting everything together, I said, I hate myself for doing it, but I'm calling this story Elio Flopio. I hate myself for it. I'm not proud of it, but it had to be said.
It's in your show notes. You actually typed it.
I actually typed out the word Elio.
You contemplated it, and you did it.
It wasn't even an accident. It was premeditated, and I wrote Elio Flopio, but it is what it is. Elio opened to $21 million, which, if you're keeping score at home, marks in the long history. That's the wrong, there we go. In the long history. And it's Adam Aaron's fault. Yeah. In the long history of Pixar that put out movies like Cars 3 or The Good Dinosaur, is the lowest opening weekend in the history of Pixar. $21 million represents the lowest opening weekend. Now, that's a pretty good thing, actually, if you're Pixar. A lot of movies will open like $8 million. The lowest we've ever done is 21, but still, lowest ever. And you know, I wish I could sit here and tell you I was surprised, but I ain't. You guys know, like leading up to this film, I've been saying for a long time, I love Pixar. And I've doubted them before and found out that the movies were great. But I've been saying forever, this Elio is not clicking. I have not thought the trailers have been particularly strong. We've talked about things, superfluous things like character design and visual elements, and there's just nothing in there emotionally seems to be gravitating people towards it. It just felt like a movie that's coming out, and it didn't. And then I even saw it, and I didn't dislike the movie. It has its charm.
It has good ratings.
Yeah, I mean the ending kind of saves it for me, but it's not a particularly strong Pixar movie.
8-4.
I'd say it's one of their worst. Not the worst. I don't even think it's a bad film. It's just not particularly strong. And sure enough, it comes out with $21 million. Now, some articles have been written and that make a good point. Say, you know what? It's right now, people are not supporting original films. Because Disney it's not, oh, people are turning against Pixar. We just had a Pixar film and it was the highest grossing film of the year. And guess what? We got Zootopia 2 coming out. Anybody want to doubt how much money that's going to make? Anybody? We got Incredibles 3 coming. Anybody want to doubt how much money that movie's going to make? Anybody? No one's going to see original films. And, you know, Pixar and Disney didn't do themselves any favors when during the pandemic and theaters were just starting to open back up and theaters were begging for content. Bob Chapek made the decision when he was still at Disney, hey, let's take these 3 Pixar films. We're going to all look really good. Luca, Soul, and Turning Red, which is, I think, one of their best films in years, by the way. Let's just dump them all on Disney Plus. Let's just do that because it's Disney Plus over everything. And they did that. And we've talked before, Rob, about how that kind of killed the event feel of Pixar films and also took away the idea of going to see anything original. Now, granted, this film didn't look very good, but I still think you could come out with something more than the lowest ever opening, even though it didn't look all that great. Anyway, Rob, I think this is a death by 1,000 cuts. What do you think about Elio's opening? Are you surprised? And do you agree with me or disagree with me that I think like once frickin' Zootopia 2 comes out, it's a sequel. It's going to do bonkers business. Anyway, what's your takeaway from this?
Well, you know, look, we've talked about this movie a lot because we saw a lot of it. Well, we saw it at CinemaCon, you know, and I've always loved Pixar movies. I'm a huge fan. Like I go all the way back to the original Toy Story and Bug's Life and all that. This movie did not appeal to me at all. And as a matter of fact, you know, I've been thinking a lot about it. Like, why didn't, And I was listening to them on Film Week, on LAist's Film Week on NPR. And Bob Mondello was talking about this and stuff. And the thing about this movie that, Pixar usually has an interesting hook. Like you think about Inside Out 2. There's a really interesting intellectual idea behind the Inside Out, I guess you call it franchise. Or Up. You've got this old curmudgeonly man. And there's something about everything with Elio felt warmed over. Like it all had elements that I'd seen in other things before.
Yeah.
And you find the kid's parents, he's an orphan, and I'm like, and then the aliens come and meet him. I'm like, that was like Last Starfighter 40 years ago. And there was, and I should, by all rights, this kind of movie should be right in my wheelhouse. But there was nothing in it from the design work. I'm just like, eh. But Pixar usually, even something like Seeing Red, when you saw the trailer, Turning Red. Seeing Red is something else. Turning Red, when you saw the trailer for that, it put a smile on your face. You're like, I would watch that movie. It's
such a wonderful movie.
I mean, you and Soul. I saw Soul. I'm like, I'm just like, I gotta see that movie. And Bug's Life, Seven Samurai with bugs. There's something about it that I had to go see, and I feel that that's Pixar's. People make fun of the Cars franchise, but and it's simple-minded, I suppose. But merchandise-wise, they did a ton of.
Has its own ride.
It's got its own ride, and it also
a good ride, by the way.
It also delivered, like Lightning McQueen. It delivered on what it was supposed to be. But that's the thing about Pixar is it's the uniqueness of it, and this felt like something that was warmed over.
Yeah, and I saw the film, and again, it's not a bad film.
Sure.
I mean, look at the ratings. I mean, this has to be a symptom of marketing because you got 84% critics, 91% of moviegoers approve it.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how strong. Like I'm one of the 91%. I like in a thumbs up or thumbs down world. I'm a thumbs up for Elio. It's pretty good. It's all right.
Not enough to recommend.
But I can't. That's the point. I can't recommend it. I can't really tell people. I think it's good enough that you can set aside an entire evening of your time and drop $30 for you to go down and see. Like I just don't. It just wasn't one of those. But again, even if it was an okay movie, it should have made more than 21 million opening weekend. But I just think the marketing never looked appealing.
No.
You kind of said there was never that it thing there was never that hook.
Right.
That changed my gears from being, well, I'll see it because it's Pixar into, ooh, I'm really looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah, I mean, the premise of it, look, if you think about a family that's kind of not, I think back to E.T., single mom, father's gone. And that to me is the granddaddy of all kids meet an extraterrestrial film. And if you're going to follow up and do something like that, you have to have something that immediately flips people's switches and tells them this is something, I got to see that. I got to know what happens in that particular story. Because Pixar was so good at that. They would show you a little, through a trailer, you're like, I got to go. That I have to see. And for me, it was weird with Elio, which should have appealed to me. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah. Jonathan, check your mic. There's some people saying they couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I was about to sneeze and I unmuted myself and then I muted myself and forgot to unmute.
All right, guys. The question is for you. Number one, do you forgive me for putting the title Elio Flopio? But it is what it is. Elio, it tanks. It's a bomb. It's a $150 million movie to produce, not counting, marketing and everything. It made 21 million opening weekend domestically, a new record low for Pixar. Why do you think that happened? If you saw it, did you enjoy it? If you didn't, why not? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.